Good morning, everybody, and a happy Monday morning to you. This is a super long video. I brought all my receipts. I'm covering the fire, but a few other stories as well. And I even have proof of Harry literally ripping his hand out of Meghan's hand. Oh, yes, there's a lot in here. I brought my receipts, so let's jump in and cover it all, shall we? Let's go. To start with, somebody wrote to me they didn't realize Tigger had passed. Well, this just popped up in my Facebook memories from 2011. But yes, he passed a few months ago at the age of 18. Bye-bye, Tigger. Also, we had an amazing storm here. I just wanted to show you some of the trees. They look so beautiful, clad in ice. It was just gorgeous. All right, let's jump in. So I'm starting off with this sent by my subscriber, Kathy. Very interesting. It's an article on Quora that basically points out that Harry didn't want to leave the royal family after he met Meghan. He really didn't because, and I completely agree with this, in the engagement interview, he talks about the work they're going to do with the royal family. It is true, he did brag about how wonderful she was going to be in her new role. If they didn't want to stay in the royal family, why have the huge wedding? Well, Meghan would have wanted the big wedding no matter what. But I think that's right. I think Harry thought he was finally going to get, the family that William had. So do I think he wanted to leave? Not initially, but I think Meghan knew that there were some issues, and I think she pushed him and pushed him and pushed him until he thought, you know what, this isn't going to work, I have to leave. And he has said before in numerous interviews that, he hated Windsor and it was like being in the Truman Show. And that's why I feel that he was such easy pickings from Meghan Markle. I think that now he's like, well, my life isn't what I thought it was going to be, because I've said it before, I'll say it again. She sold him a bill of goods. He really thought they were going to come to the United States. Everybody was going to love them and fawn all over them. He didn't count that as he attacked his family repeatedly, people in the United States who loved the Queen were going to turn on him and turn on Meghan Markle. Yeah. All right, let's move on. All right, really quickly, Princess Anne carried out her first engagement this past Thursday. It was her return to royal duties following Christmas break. She is the honorary president of the Oxford Farming Conference, and in her duties, she attended their annual conference. She looked absolutely gorgeous, by the way. She drove herself there, which I think is not very usual, but doesn't surprise me. And it's no wonder with all of this that she is still trying to retain the title of the hardest working royal. Doesn't surprise me at all. Way to go, Anne. All right, let's move on. Zara and Mike Tyndall were pictured on this past Saturday, January 11th, stepping out on the Gold Coast for the Magic Millions race day. This is the main event of the Magic Millions Carnival, even though, believe it or not, there was a track poisoning controversy that threatened to derail the race meeting, but this whole thing went ahead. Now, before anybody says anything, these two are not working royals. They do not take money from the sovereign grant. They fund their lifestyle through their brand deals. She has been a Racing Women's Ambassador since 2012, and they always participate in this event, the yearling sale. It's 7 days of auctions which culminate in the major race. They both looked absolutely fabulous this year, and a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us what she was wearing. And also, really quickly, you should know that on January 10th, Zara attended the exclusive Women with Horsepower lunch at the Star Gold Coast in Australia. This lunch is part of the Magic Millions Carnival. And again, as I said before, Zara is an ambassador, looking lovely. All right, let's move on. Oh my goodness, they've lost another staff member. India Gary Martin was appointed as the first chairman of Travelist. She said it was so exciting, and I guess the thrill ran off rather quickly because she quit after a year and a half. This now makes 20 senior executives who have stepped down, and the company is trying to downplay it, claiming she stepped down to focus on her own business, Leadership for Execs, where she works with organizations on leadership development, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm sorry, I don't believe that for a second. So now, former Google executive Gianni Morostic is in the position, and I wonder if she'll join the Sussex Survivor Club. Oh my God. Listen, these are not employees they just found off the street. These are people who have previously excelled working for demanding bosses in high-performance companies and environments, and they don't last 5 minutes with Harry and Meghan. Guys, that has to tell you something. All right, let's move on. All right, this next story I just wanted to touch on. Remember Justin Trudeau's wife, the one that he's estranged from, Sophie? Well, apparently Meghan met her while filming Suits in Toronto. And Sophie was actually a guest on Archetypes, where they boasted, or Meghan boasted about, they were swimming together on pizza-shaped floats and giddy like schoolgirls, blah, blah, blah. We splashed in the water, we swam, we drank wine. But in an interview last year, Sophie, when she was asked about Meghan, said, "Yeah, I know her, but we didn't spend much time together." Obviously, the friendship has gone bye-bye. It seems to me that Meghan Markle got markled by Sophie Trudeau. I think Sophie Trudeau was like, "Yeah, I don't like this girl." All right, let's move on. All right, next up, I've told you guys, mainstream media watches us and then does their stories off of us. Did I not tell you guys just the other day, and I showed you receipts, that Meghan Markle was using the death of her dog to plug her show on Netflix? She wrote, "Because many of you will now see Guy in the series, I hope you'll come to understand why I'm so devastated, and I think you might fall a little bit in love too." Remember, I showed you guys that the other day. This particular reporter, Rebecca English, said, quote, "I thought it was quite noteworthy that she used it as a plug for the show, which, I'll be honest, made me personally feel a little bit uncomfortable. I'm just not sure if it was the wise thing to do." I agree. Now, I've told you guys the other day also that there's multiple reports that this dog died in October. I have not seen any evidence to that. I'm not saying that the other YouTubers are lying, but I won't report on something without proof. So I don't know what to say about that. Would it surprise me if the dog died months ago and she's just now releasing it, especially because her Netflix show is being trashed in mainstream media? No, that wouldn't surprise me. That's her typical MO. That's what she does. We also know that a lot of the scenes were staged. So with the show getting a lot of hate from people, the trailer, and it's already being thrown, Vanity Fair put out this article. The hate is predictable. It's not... She goes with this racism narrative. They go with all these narratives instead of going with the truth. You guys all know what the truth is. The truth is these are paid for opinion pieces. You're not going to change people's minds. She treats her family like dirt. She's pretentious. She's a bully. The treatment of her father, the treatment of the Queen and Philip, the treatment of the black and white members of her family, people are sick of her. She's manipulative. She's self-absorbed. She's a liar. She's a narcissist. Everything she does is for personal gain, not for other people. Now let's get into the fire so we can talk about that portion of it. Oh, one more interesting thing. Meghan is now listed on Celebrity Talent International. It's a website as a motivational speaker. And in the things that they talk about, they say she was a celebrated fashion model. When was she a fashion model? She's a spokesmodel, actress, and duchess. You'll recognize her as Rachel Zane, blah, blah, blah. It's a joke. And I bet she's charging a fortune. But when you hire her for motivational speaking, all you'll get is word salad. So I'm not sure what the point is. Let's move on. Now let's get into the fires. I showed you already what Harry and Meghan put up on their website telling people what to do, while Selena Gomez donates $5 million of her own personal money. Jamie Lee Curtis, God, I love Jamie Lee Curtis, steps up and donates $1 million of her own money. Keep that in mind. Steve Guttenberg, remember him? He was actually seen walking up and down the street clearing paths for fire engines. The Kardashians sent meals to every single firehouse, and these are some of the most publicity-hungry families, and they didn't even post about it. They let the firehouses post about it. They didn't tell the news agencies. They didn't do anything. No, it was about this time that Jennifer Garner popped up. She's been a longtime partner with World Central Kitchen, and she was out there helping them bring meals from restaurants and food truck partners to first responders and families. She was out there, boots on the ground, doing the work. I swear to you, I knew as soon as I saw these pictures, Harry and Meghan were going to pop up. By the way, there's a word out that they're Archwell is giving $4 million. So it's money other people have donated. They're not giving any of their own money. So Governor Newsom is the one who cut the $100 million for fire prevention before this whole thing happened. Remember, he's friends with Harry and Meghan. So nobody was surprised when Governor Newsom's wife popped up next to Harry and Meghan doling out food in the line. Yep. Yes, that is Gavin Newsom's wife. And if you look behind her, that is Harry standing there, hands on hips, basically walking back and forth, talking to people and not doing anything. And then you look to the left and there's Meghan Markle. And standing next to Meghan Markle is the mayor of Pasadena, Victor Gordo, who you should know never left Meghan's side. I'm going to show you in just a minute. Everywhere they went, the mayor stuck to them like glue. Probably Meghan did that for extra protection because, you know, security and all, although their security was there. So Meghan is there with a mask on, handing out apples. That's what she's doing, handing apples to people. Now, the mayor came out and said they were doing this strictly for publicity. Nobody knew they were there. Are you kidding? Not there for publicity. She was lining people up for photos, making sure, of course, that she's right smack dab in the middle. Now, I have several clips of videos. Let's look at them. To start with, look at Meghan here. She almost looks manic, like she's looking around. What do I do? Who can I hug? What can I say? And she's walking up and talking with this woman with her hair up. Now, this woman is very obviously upset after she hugs Jose Andres. She's very upset. Obviously, something's happened. She does have a volunteer lanyard, around her neck. She's shaking the hand of the mayor of Pasadena. There he is again. And she has a radio in her back pocket. But the news said that they were tipped off anonymously that they were there. I think we all know who did the tipping off because that's how Harry and Meghan behave. Second of all, they're like, oh, they broke cover. No, they were looking for publicity. Again, there's the mayor. Now, Meghan is over at this table. By the way, so a lot of this is from CBS on Twitter. You can find these clips yourself if you want to look at them. This woman actually looks like she doesn't want to talk to Meghan. But Meghan leans over like she's going to do something. The woman probably asked her to do something. And as soon as the woman walked off, Meghan was like, I don't want to do that. So she turns around and walks back. The people she's talking to are her security. The guy on the left was her security guard that she was just talking to. So Meghan's standing there, and I think she realizes that the camera is there. So she decides she's going to hug the mayor. Now, the mayor then hugs Harry, and Meghan looks upset that somebody else is getting a hug on camera. I want you to notice that while they're in this area, and that is the table behind them and the truck where she was handing out the apples earlier, notice the only people around them, the guy in the blue on the right is security, the guy in the vest there is security. They're just standing around. But the only people Harry and Meghan are talking to are the mayor and the guy from World Central Kitchen and I'm air quoting, the volunteer that's so upset. That's it. There's nobody else in their little group. You don't see any other photos or pictures of her having long discussions with anybody else. There's something very odd going on here. Now, also, I want you to look real quick before I end this video clip and look at the back of Harry's head. Look up at his head. What the hell is going on? Is the hat too tight? Is his head swollen? There's something weird going on there. The only thing that I found hilarious during this whole thing where I laughed out loud was that this reporter kept calling her Princess Markle. My God. The next thing that happened was Meghan was well aware that there were cameras there. At several times, she looked up and looked straight at the camera. We know she has a weird ability to do that. But she goes in. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that this woman with the badge on wasn't upset. She was obviously upset. She probably lost her home. She's probably lost everything. And she's standing there next to, look at the mayor. Mayor's like, oh, yeah, I look so concerned. So she's standing there next to the mayor, and she's telling them how she's lost everything. And Meghan is looking at her, trying to look sympathetic. And so she pulled her in for that great big hug. So, of course, I'm wondering, why is this girl the only one allowed in the circle with Jose Andres and Harry and Meghan and the mayor of Pasadena? Why would that be? Well, as they were leaving, they were caught in a secured area leaving. So Meghan, realizing there's a camera, switches from one side of Harry to the other to grab the girl's hand. But that's because Harry told her to. Watch Harry's head. He waves at the camera. He looks at Meghan. There's a camera, Meghan. There's a camera. So Meghan switches sides. That absolutely was done by Harry. Now, this next clip that came up, this is at the end when it's time to leave. And the security is trying to get them to go to the left. And as you can see around them, there's hardly anybody there anymore. Jose Andres just waved. He's leaving. But this is when you see something is not right with Harry and Meghan. Meghan tries to grab Harry's hand. Watch what Harry does. He's like, I'm not finished here yet. And he physically pulls off from her, pushes her, and then goes around to give a hug. And Meghan, I guess she was embarrassed, walks off with the mayor of Pasadena. Well, isn't that interesting? Now, in talking about the World Central Kitchen, this really got me. People magazine, Harry and Meghan's go-to magazine, whom we know they talk to directly, put up this article talking about the Archwell Foundation. Through the Archwell Foundation, they've contributed monetary donations, blah, blah, blah. And then later on, they actually said that they are a partner of the couple's Archwell Foundation. They are not a partner. Harry and Meghan gave them a donation years ago. Next thing that really upset me. So Harry and Meghan went with the permission of Mayor Victor Gordo, the mayor of Pasadena, to visit a property on Highway Avenue and Altadena Drive that was destroyed by fire. And the only way that could have happened is if they arranged it with the mayor. Now remember, they don't represent anybody. They don't represent the UK, the US government. They are nobodies. They're not even A-list celebrities. They're nobodies. I hope this mayor is not reelected, because the actual people whose property this belongs to, they're not allowed to go home. They have to wait to see if their house even still exists. And one of the reasons they were probably waiting was because the mayor was doing a photo call with Harry and Meghan. Really? These people are waiting for hours and hours so Harry and Meghan could walk through the rubble of their home. At one point in all of this, the mayor supposedly, allegedly, was seen giving his business card to Harry and Meghan. Why? They're not in a position to help rebuild California. They're not even giving any of their own money. They're only giving money from Archwell, which is money other people donated. They're keeping their millions. Now, it's pretty obvious that TMZ, Harry and Meghan knew TMZ were there at the food distribution, but here I'm going to say they didn't know, because you never see them side by side. They're not holding hands. They're not putting on their lovey-dovey display like they usually do. I think Meghan's pissed that Harry pulled away from her in front of the cameras, and I think this is just not, I think the charade is over. So for those of you who haven't figured out what this is, the only reason they came out from their little hidey hole at their house is because the federal government is going to be distributing funds, and Harry and Meghan are going to be first in line with Archwell with their hands out to try to get some of that money, because people aren't donating to them anymore, and they really, really, really need the funds. That's what this whole thing was about. You watch. They may even want to do a show. Watch how we help people. You guys know what I'm saying. Will Harry and Meghan get those funds? Let's not forget it was Gavin Newsom who held a news conference in support of Harry and Meghan when Archwell was labeled as delinquent by the California Registry of Charities and Fundraisers. Several, companies have been labeled delinquent. Does the governor come out in their defense? No, but this guy did. I hope Harry and Meghan aren't hoping that Governor Newsom stays, because I can assure you when elections come up with this whole fire debacle, he's out. In my opinion, this entire thing was like a glorified pap walk. It had the feeling of what happened in 2021 with Baby to Baby. They showed up. They didn't help collect the supplies. They didn't help pack the supplies. All they did was show up with their own fashion photographer, help hand the supplies out. Rumors or stories were they stayed approximately 20 minutes after getting the footage, and then they left. And they never went back, by the way. They never had anything to do with that after that. This also had the feeling of Uvalde, where she took a private jet and flew round trip 6 hours total to go put some flowers down, and she walked back and forth in front of the Netflix cameras, but she didn't actually do anything for Uvalde. She dropped off some chips. This was nothing but a glorified pap walk. They really didn't do anything. Rumors were they were there for about 20 minutes. Is that true? I don't know, but frankly, I don't care. They had no business there. Oh my God, you know I want your comments, so make them good. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe and the up thumb to help me with my algorithm. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the links to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon, which is currently paused, my Amazon wish list, and my physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.